It's time to make sports talk great again with Curt Schilling and Steve Deace.
And greetings. Welcome to The Blaze. I'm Steve Deace. Each day, we do our best to talk sports. He is World Series champion, future Hall of Famer Curt Schilling. We put 25 minutes on the clock, get to as many of the day's sports topics as we possibly can, beginning right now. So, the name of the show is We Talk Sports. And we do, we always put this caveat on there. As best as the circumstances will allow. We both believe that sports ought to be a safe space for Americana to still be enjoyed. However, the lead story today makes it somewhat impossible no matter how many alligators you put in the moat, every now and then some barbarians make it through to the gate. All right. Michael Avenatti is a name that has become a household name to most Americans because cable news, where the truth goes to die every night, made him so. He was recently fired, or he fired her, the creepy porn lawyer for Stormy Daniels, one of President Trump's former dalliances. He is back in the news in one of the most damn peculiar ways possible. And in the Southern District of New York, where he was helping to put, on cable news anyway, try to put the president's former attorney, Michael Cohen, in prison. Well, that same Southern District of New York has now charged him. Actually, he's been charged in two places, both out west and in the Southern District of New York. And it all stems from wiretapes and communications of him attempting to bribe, shake down, blackmail corporate officials at Nike with the college basketball scandal that we've been talking about. And we have been waiting for the other non-Adidas shoe companies to get brought into this, because Adidas isn't going to compete against themselves, right? They're not going to offer, folks money to sign with their shoe company out of high school if no one else is. They're just not giving money away over at Adidas, right? So the reason they're doing that is because they know they have to do this to compete against companies like Nike. So we've been waiting for Nike to get dragged into this. Now, some of you may ask, Steve, what's the difference between this and a lawyer saying, if you don't settle with my client, we will sue? Well, the difference is there's no legal claim here. Michael Avenatti did not threaten Nike with a legal claim. He has not filed a legal claim with Nike. He literally said, if you don't pay my client, who used to be somebody you'll funnel money through, and then pay me to oversee the independent investigation, if you don't pay me, I'm going to go public. And this is on wiretaps, okay, from the feds. Him saying that. And not only like the Nike guy is like, hey, can you repeat that? Yes, if you don't pay me, I'm going public. This is literally like right out of a bad soap opera.
Like he's got the microphone, he's putting his shirt up.
Yes. And like the scene where they're in the other room with the tracer. Hey, keep him on the line. Keep him on the line.
Can you speak into my shirt tab, please?
Yes. And again, what was the dollar amount? One more time, sir. Yes. And then we find that his co-conspirator is none other than Mark Garagos, longtime celebrity lawyer. One of his recent clients, by the way, Colin Kaepernick, who just settled out of court with the NFL and has been a huge, huge benefactor of Nike's grace, has been one of Nike's main pitchmen, has made millions of dollars. And so here's the thing with this. I know because of who's involved and the tentacles, I know that the temptation is because what we see above the water is so salacious, it's hard not to go for the low-lying fruit.
Yeah.
But looking at this from a sports perspective, I wonder if Nike may regret the decision to call in the feds here. That I wonder if what may end up happening, and now you have Avenatti already this morning tweeting out DeAndre Ayton's name, the #1 pick in the NBA draft a year ago. He's the guy that was alleged to be on wiretaps from ESPN's Mark Schlabach a year ago as one of the players that Sean Miller, who a lot of people think is gone as Arizona's coach, was alleging payments for. I wonder if, yes, it appears Mr. Avenatti's in a lot of trouble here. All right, because they got wiretaps, they've got transcripts, they've got emails. I mean, this is, okay, we'll see what his, everybody gets a defense, right? We'll see what his defense is. And yes, if you follow the political world, it's hard to avoid how just downright cosmic this all looks, okay? But looking at this from the sports angle, Curt, I wonder if if Nike might have pulled a Gary Hart here. And if you know what I'm referencing, back in the day, Gary Hart was alleged to have been an adulterer. Back when we cared about the character of our politicians, anyway. And he challenged the media. He said, I am not sleeping with this model, Donna Rice. In fact, you follow me around. You follow me. He put it back on him. He doubled down. He said, you follow me. And so they did. They did follow him all the way to him sleeping with Donna Rice, and he was out of the presidential race. Okay, I wonder.
Lance Armstrong.
Yes, I wonder if Nike, Curt, may regret saying, "You can't blackmail us. We'll turn you into the feds." And then if somebody over there might go, "Oh wait, we've just invited the feds in to take a look at the inside of the books," and then there's the aspect of picking a fight with a cockroach. Because Avenatti, his entire career is built off of sling and slime on social media and cable news. He has no contempt of court citation, nothing a judge could threaten him with. That's why he's out there already this morning dropping DeAndre Ayton's name. I mean, he's perfectly with what's made him famous. Why wouldn't he just
besides CNN?
Yeah, well, yes. And with CNN now gone by the wayside, this is it's funny. Mark Garagos was CNN's chief legal commentator.
Yes.
Until yesterday when they said he's not now. It's just funny how it coincided with this whole thing. But what's your take on this from a sports angle? Might Nike regret inviting the Southern District of New York here, the Department of Justice, into this?
And that's one of the angles that I took looking at this first. I wonder, it makes me feel like maybe Nike's trying to play above board everywhere else. Because, I mean, you're inviting people behind the curtains to see Oz, and you got to be ready. I mean, you're open to, you've left yourself exposed if you're Nike in a way that, in a way that could I don't want to say ruin them because they're not going to get ruined, but this is and I just have this picture of people saying, hey, could you just say your last name again?
Yes. Spell it one more time. Yes.
Yeah.
And your Twitter handle is, yes. Now, let's say this, though, to keep it real. All right. Keep it 100 here on We Talk Sports. Michael Avenatti did take down R. Kelly. He is the one.
Yeah.
He's the one that produced the tape that looks like it's going to take R. Kelly's long-rumored penchant for underage girls. He is the one that put that out there about 2 weeks ago.
Doesn't this again push his credibility and make you wonder a little bit about? I've never seen the tape, the R. Kelly tape. I haven't seen it.
Well, that would be good that you don't, because apparently it's him having sex with an underage girl,
right?
And when they find out you watched it, the feds will now knock on your door next for disseminating child porn.
What I'm saying is, I wonder. I mean, this is almost like Michael Cohen in a sense that, you bring someone in to swear them under oath who's going to jail for lying. What is swearing that person under oath actually mean to them? I mean, this screams, I guess on the upside, the political bend for this to me on this is I'm disappointed that the Democratic field for president in 2020 just got one shorter. Although this may not disqualify him after what we saw in 2016. But, I mean, this guy is a dirtball, and in the lowest form. And you listen to him. Again, I think of Lance Armstrong when I think of him, because you remember time and time again, Lance Armstrong went so far beyond double down. I don't know what the number was. Yeah. Ruining careers, ruining lives. How dare you question me? I've been clean my whole life. Didn't he actually rat other people out? He ruined, yes. Yeah. Yes, like, I can't believe, I mean, it's one of those things. It's a level of hubris I don't know I've ever seen. Well, you're describing a sociopath. That's what you're describing. Exactly right. And that term is is so attached to serial killers. That's an extreme form of sociopathy. But really, what it comes down to is you have created an alternative reality of who you are and what is right and wrong. And this is why you're such a good liar. You believe your own feces. That's why. I mean, and I believe that. I believe that there is a level of that where they've lied, that their life is so caught up in a web of lies that there no longer is any way to get to the truth. And I look at Michael Cohen that way. I look at Lance Armstrong that way. And you look back on well, I don't know if you ever saw the Bundy tapes, the recent thing that just came
everybody
out
keeps. I know it's on Netflix. I need to watch it. Everybody keeps telling me I need to watch that.
Right, and there's this alternate universe these people live in that they really honestly Lance Armstrong can say the things he said because I have no doubt he believed everything he was saying, no matter how much how far away from the truth it was, and this.
See, I have a theory here. You tell me if you think there's any merit to it whatsoever. You're familiar with the Darwin Awards, right? You know, these go viral every December.
Yes, one of my favorite. Yes.
A few years ago, the #1 ranked story on the Darwin Awards is you had this crack hoe, literally. I think it was like in Chicago or Tampa or one of those cities that are notorious for this kind of activity. And she had bought some crack rock from the dope man on the street corner. And when she tried it, it didn't get her high. And so she was convinced that she had been swindled. So in order to have it tested, she took it to the police and said, hey, is this for real? And they said, we'll happily test that for you. And they told her, congratulations, you didn't get swindled. Oh, by the way, you're under arrest, okay, for felony possession. All right. Here's why I bring that up to lead into this. Is it possible the feds said to Nike, you know what, you're right. We will gladly test the integrity of the crack cocaine that you have just bought. Just, you want to make sure you are getting high on the most pure grade form of crack, of course, okay? And that the feds are, while Avenatti is because of the other tentacles that he's got his hands in, he's the flashy name here. But this is, the feds are running a sting operation here on Nike because this is one way to find out, hey, what's this guy know? And we're already going after Adidas and everybody else. And you're a much bigger company. In fact, globally, Nike is not a bigger company than Adidas, by the way, because Adidas is the soccer company. Okay, but here in America, it's not the Department of Planetary Justice; it's the U.S. Department of Justice.
Right.
And in terms of the United States, which company is bigger, Nike or Adidas? So it's not even close, guys. Okay, is it possible that while we are all fixated on the Avenatti angle, the feds are actually using him and are turning the tables here on Nike, that Nike may regret ever making that call?
The feds have always been able to use the media with the shiny object, right? Mm-hmm. The entire focus of the conversation has been on Michael Avenatti. I mean, this guy, only in our country could this guy become famous for just being a dirtball and become a Democratic presidential candidate, by the way. But yeah, this story is so deep, so wide, and it touches, I think, an enormous number of potential college athletes that they do the shiny object thing, and then the shiny object in this case is Michael Avenatti. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, and having lived in the life of being the shiny object every now and then, it's like I always tell my boys, listen, if you're somewhere where the police show up, the media doesn't care about Bobby Smith being there, but they do care about the son of Curt Schilling. Mm-hmm. And Michael Avenatti's become that guy, right? I mean, that is who he. I wonder. When we're talking about, we've been talking about the federal investigation into the coaches and the recruiting and all. There's no way, in my opinion, that any of this stuff happened in silos.
I totally agree. There's no way Adidas offers money to recruits in a non-competitive environment. No, other competing shoe companies must have been doing this as well.
So when we talk about that, we go back to the coaches and how deep is Michael Avenatti on this side of the basketball thing, right? I mean, that we've been talking about, where you've had major programs that I think some of them may get the death penalty. Right. You've got major coaches.
There's a Jose. You know what? I asked you once. What blew the steroid scandal open? What is it that was the foil? That was you had the known. This was a known secret in your circles, and it was Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
Avenatti may be the Jose Canseco here, because here's why. His entire relevance is not based on his legal acumen, but his ability to manipulate the media and make himself relevant. Okay.
And it's so important for him to be relevant that there's almost a point where he doesn't care why he's
That's exactly
relevant.
right. Yeah. That is you literally picked Nike here has picked an argument with a cockroach, and cockroaches survive even nuclear wars. Yep. Okay. And the only way he can now that he's out of the Stormy Daniels sweepstakes, now that he's toxic to MSNBC and CNN, and the Russian collusion thing was blown up by the special counsel over the weekend, he needs to reestablish some credibility for to get clients. So R. Kelly established some credibility. He's the one that brought that tape to the public. That should be noted.
Doesn't that make you wonder if the R. Kelly stuff is really legit?
It's either a tape or it's not. That's either him on tape or it's not. You're right. Okay. That's why he didn't bring forth, he's not Gloria Allred bringing forth female accusers 37 years later. He brought forth a tape. Okay. Yeah. So it's either a tape or it's not. In this Nike case, he brought forth a guy that was one of the agents for an AEU company, one of the go-betweens between Nike. That's either true or it's not. This guy either got paid or he didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I think Nike may regret making that phone call, because they decided to pick a fight with an arsonist who has no shame and doesn't care, how many matches he has to light in order to gain a claim for screaming fire in a crowded theater.
I can't help but think, when you think about one of the things that Michael Avenatti, in addition to the Stormy Daniels thing, you remember how deep he was into the Russia collusion discussion? President Trump colluded with Russia, blah, blah, blah. Is there any thought in your mind that maybe the Mueller investigation brought somebody in on this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that reached so far, so wide, so deep that I'm not wondering if there wasn't people picking up bits and pieces. Like, Mueller was singularly focused initially on collusion, and then he veered off the side, went to obstruction and stuff. But the amount of people that were, 500 subpoenas or 2,800 subpoenas, I think it was. Is there any doubt that I don't have any doubt that there's crossover here, and all of this stuff got, the wiretaps and I mean, it used to be a wiretap was an enormous deal, right? I mean, the amount of legal hoops and the FISA warrants that we now know you can get basically for a quarter and a good story. I just wonder how big that was, and how widespread that was, and how much that touched.
Well, I think
crossover.
I think you're about to find out. Yeah. Because you now have an arsonist who burned down one neighborhood, and he needs a new one now.
He's getting ready to set fire on his house.
Yeah. Yes. So enjoy life, Nike. Just do it. Let's go to the NBA. The Lakers officially eliminated from the playoffs in year one under LeBron James, talking about getting rid of Bill Walton's son Luke as a head coach, and maybe Jason Kidd comes in and everything. Did you ever foresee? Now, I didn't get like the over-under win total of 50 looking at their roster and stuff like that, but this has been an unmitigated disaster.
Yep.
Disaster.
I saw a stat the other day, and it caught me off guard. After 70 games, they were 31-39 after 70 games, which is the exact same record they had last year after 70 games. Now, when you talk about the greatest player that ever lived, can you imagine, or could you ever imagine Michael Jordan going to another team and them not being better?
Of course not.
In the win column?
That is a phenomenal point. Or let's pick out some other name. Magic Johnson. Larry Bird. Those guys go to any team, and their record's not automatically better, really. And you know what's funny about this too? I'm no fan of LeVar Ball. Okay?
No, I'm not either.
But, the whole thing when LeBron went there was, how are him and LeVar Ball going to coexist, things of that nature. Until recently, when LeVar Ball came out last week and admitted he got swindled in his own business deal. All right?
Yeah.
Have we not heard a damn word from him or his son all season long? All the dramas come from that guy, LeBron. He can't play, but he can show up at the Rose Bowl. He's trying to orchestrate trades. And
saw the Instagram the other day. The Instagram post from one of his rehab coordinators. Mm-hmm. Did you read it?
I did not. No.
Okay. You have to go to Instagram and look at a young lady who I guess was helping him rehab. my guess is that he wrote it for her and had her post it. It basically is her telling you what an amazingly incredible feat it was for him to come back and play in the pain he was in for the entire year, that no one else could have done it. It is one of those, it screams of him saying, I'm the greatest athlete that's ever lived.
If Kobe Bryant, if it was Kobe Bryant, would the Lakers be better?
Yes.
If it was Michael Jordan, would they be better?
Yes.
If it was Larry Bird, would they be better?
Yes.
If it was Magic Johnson, would they be better?
Yes.
If it was Wilt Chamberlain, would they be better?
Yes.
If it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, would it be better? If it was Oscar Robertson, would they be better?
This is what, you know what? This is what I'm going to put 2 points together that may not seem to be in the same universe. When we talk about Colin Kaepernick, and my defense to you has always been, no player is worth the headache unless they're worth the headache on the field. Mm-hmm. You take LeBron's crap, and for the most part, it's harmless. It's stupid stuff. It's frivolous, stupid stuff.
He's a drama queen.
Right. But you take that because you're going to be 10 wins better on the court.
Sure.
Because he is going to make you better. All the things that Colin Kaepernick won't do, in my opinion, for a team. That's why you take the crap from LeBron. This is the first year I've seen it backfire. This is the first year that the stories off the court were bigger than the performance. And teams don't. The NBA is a different animal because the players now run it, right? The players completely run the NBA. The only teams that don't have players running
in the NBA, the players run the league, and Twitter runs the players. Yes. So Twitter basically runs the NBA. Yes. Yep.
And if you're the only teams the two teams that usually end up in the finals are the two teams that don't have whose coach still has control of the team. But this is him. Well, I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, he's all about having to bring in specific people to be good. That doesn't speak very well to him if he needs a
If you're those guys and you saw what happened with him and Kyrie Irving a few years ago when LeBron was probably a better player and physically in better shape than he is now given his age. If you're Anthony Davis or one of those guys, are you rethinking, do I really want to ride side saddle with that? Really?
Well, more importantly is, do I want to uproot my family for this guy?
Because if it doesn't work, you know what's going to happen.
But
you're going to be the one that's going to be blamed.
Exactly, because Sunday night, I'm his best friend.
Yep.
And Monday morning, he could be asking the team to get rid of me.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of player he is. And that, his lack of self-awareness and his inability to surround himself with anybody that will stand up to him is crushing him.
And he probably went to the worst market on planet Earth for that dynamic, because everything about Tinseltown will incentivize a lack of self-awareness. Yes.
And it's the sports team in that town when you talk about Hollywood.
No doubt about it. Rob Gronkowski has retired. And there's lots of speculation about this already. Even his own agent, Drew Rosenhaus, is saying
only because of his age.
Yeah, quote, people change their minds, unquote.
That's only because he's only because he's 30.
Only because he's only 30 years old. He retired over Instagram. He is 30, but his body, and you could see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His athleticism is nowhere near where it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. He's done everything physically the Patriots have asked of him, and he's paid a hefty price for it.
You know the play I thought about it that I thought he was no longer Rob Gronkowski was the last second flea flicker return by Miami where he was deep man and he got played at the 10-yard line in a way that it looked like he was 60 years old.
Yes. Yeah. Greatest tight end ever.
Is that really
I saw this debated a lot yesterday, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
So let's go head to head. Russ Francis, Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, right? Rob Gronkowski, Kellen Winslow.
Oof, I'm a big Kellen Winslow guy. He's one of the best ever. But I don't know if I take him over Tony Gonzalez in the draft.
That would be the next one, him or Tony Gonzalez. What do you think?
I think Tony Gonzalez.
I would take Gronk, and the reason I would take Gronk is even at his advanced age, in terms of the shape his body's in, not his numerical age.
Right.
Two of the biggest plays the Patriots had this offseason were outside runs where he just eliminated the line of the defense at the line of scrimmage, at the point of attack. Well, and even in his prime, Tony Gonzalez wasn't that kind of a player.
Part of my allure when you talk about the greatest ever is availability.
Well, and that would be the question with Kellen Winslow is...
Right.
And we're talking senior here, not junior. Kellen Winslow Jr. is a basket case. Yeah. We're talking senior here, but in many respects, he was sort of Gronk without today's modern recovery techniques and things of that nature. Because there was a 3 or 4 year period where he was an unstoppable force in the NFL. And then other than that, he could not stay on the field. He was just beat up all the time.
What about Antonio Gates?
Now, I think that's an interesting argument because my theory on the Chargers. They do those football life things on the NFL Network. And that era of the Chargers when they were all in their prime, Gates and Rivers and Tomlinson, that's going to be one of the great teams in the history of the NFL that never won a Super Bowl. They just happened to play in the same conference at the same time that Brady and Belichick were at their zenith, at their peak.
I got to tell you, that part of me looks back on the tragedy that was Aaron Hernandez and wonders we had never seen anything like those two before.
Right,
ever.
Together, playing together.
And the thought and Aaron Hernandez was spectacularly talented, as was Gronk. Part of me wonders how much less wear and tear Rob would have today if Aaron was.
I think that's a valid question to ask.
And then I think they could have been two of the best tight ends. They were both wide receivers in tight end bodies, and I just wonder. It was an amazing thing to see.
Although they had their comeback win in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, the year he was hurt. Remember that?
Yep.
All right, Curt, good stuff. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. We're going to do our 2019 Major League Baseball preview right here on The Blaze.